Hello, my name is Tony Vassallo. This is my screencast presentation for EDU709. A little bit about my class real quick. It's a graphic design class, and we use Adobe software. They work on Mac computers. They need to learn lots of different things over a course of a year. It's really a tough class in a way. They have to learn all the design side of everything and how to use the tools. I never want the tools to be a roadblock for the students, so I do my best to kind of give them as much information, as much time learning them as possible. And we also do t-shirt production, screen printing, vinyl graphics, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot going on in my class, and it's a lot of multitasking and kind of me moving through two rooms a lot during the course of a class period. The rationale for this project is kind of in a way based off of evaluation work and presenting data. I wanted to show a different way to present my data and show performance, because that's what my classes are really about, performing. No one wants to see how well you did on a graphic design test. They want to see how well you can do graphic design. So that's where that sort of stems from. The innovation that I'm using is screencasting. I'm using Screencastify. It's an extension on the Google platform, and the students are using it to sort of present their knowledge or understanding of a topic to me. In this case, this topic is the basic kind of tools of Photoshop in the first lesson, and then moving to working with different online tutorials to create a design, really trying to focus on technical skill. And in that lesson as well, they are demonstrating their understanding in a form of a screencast. So in the first lesson, right here, this is my LMS. It's Google Classroom. It is okay. We're a Google school district, so I use it. It's just easiest at the time. But here's the first one here. This lesson is called Teach the Teacher Photoshop. I kind of present an introductory video that kind of explains everything, a video how to screencast, a student example, which was just me at the time because I haven't had students use it yet, as well as sample images. That kind of levels a bit of the playing field for the performance, so that they're all kind of using the same thing, just showing me different aspects of Photoshop with that image, and of course a rubric for them. So basically what they would be doing is, real quick, prior knowledge. So some of the prior knowledge that the students have before we get into this lesson is first, the screencasting. I think this year I'm going to have the students create a screencast introduction just to me, not to the rest of the class right now, just to me, just telling them about themselves, and it gets them to use it real quick, the software, sharing that file with me, and it's just a different way for students to present introductions, so they have that knowledge, as well as I do an overview of the workspace and kind of all the different parts of Photoshop and how they work. And they do have a couple days of just time to explore the software on their own, no instruction, just kind of going around and seeing what it does, making a bunch of mistakes and frustrations and so forth. And then we get into this more formal lesson where they need to show me their understanding. So the students also have a whole library of instructional videos on Photoshop. It would be shared with them in their Google Drive. So I can't really show you what that is here, but it's just a series of videos that I recorded a few, and I'm in the process of recording tons in the next couple of weeks, because I want to have all my own content for this instead of just relying on stuff that's out on the internet. So I'm doing a lot of this on my own. So what a student would basically do is let me close this, real quick. Start recording and introduce themselves. They would have that webcam embedded so I can see if they're really there and they're doing this and it's not just someone else submitting the video for them. And they would say, hey, Mr. V, I'm going to open up a file, so they can show me how they open up a file. They can tell me about the move tool and what it does in Photoshop, just moving different parts of Photoshop around and layers and so forth. And they would get into selections and moving on, showing me how to select an area and what is kind of happening in front of them. Some of the learning may just take place when they are recording. They may not have a true understanding until they do the recording. And that's what I want to see. I want to hear their words, see what they do, and see if they're understanding these different parts of Photoshop. In the instructions, they go through the different selection tools, the different tools you would use to clone something, manipulation tools, and some of the drawing tools. So it may take them more than just one video to submit to me to get everything done, and that's fine. There will be some students that might try to be perfectionist. This is like my 5th time trying to do this screencast, so and they want to get that part right for me, which is okay. And so that's what they're doing for the first lesson. The second lesson just basically expands upon what they just learned, and they are going to use some different Photoshop tutorials and kind of just do what they do in the tutorial. They can apply the different techniques and processes to complete some sort of a manipulation to a design through these different tutorials. They can combine a few tutorials to themselves. I really encourage them to be creative, find things that will kind of challenge them, and to really focus on the technical skill of the design and not so much the content in a way. So an example, kind of same thing with before, they have an introductory video, instructions, or rubric. Here's a couple sites they can use. They can find other things on their own. They just have to verify it with me real quick before they do it. And so here's an example. So let's say they want to figure out how to create a caricature from a photo. They're going to use the different steps inside this tutorial to create this design to their best ability, but yet they can choose their own picture. I like a lot of student choice in my class, so they can choose their own picture and create this design. As you can see here, there's just lots of different tutorials, how to do different effects. Some of it's with text, some of it's more abstract, how they kind of do things. So it's really up to the student. I want them to choose what they should do, okay? And then the innovative part of the lesson, I feel, is them then using the screen capture software to screencast what they did. Now they're going to submit the design to me on our Google Classroom, what they did, and then they're going to create a screencast and kind of walk me through it. I don't necessarily need a step-by-step instruction at this point. I just want them to show me understanding, kind of show me what they did to get from point A to point B. I think it'd be a really cool project. I'm excited for it, and I think it's going to be a great way for me to show my administrators pre and post data. I can ask them to do the same things second day of school, and most of them will sit there and have no idea how to do anything. And then later in the year, they will definitely show growth, which is great. And students get to use, on kind of on top of it, skills such as learning how to do the screencast in general, sharing files with another person. They will also they need to present this in a professional manner. That's part of the whole embedded webcam, is being as professional as possible with this project. And it's just a great way to show, I think, understanding, because we all don't learn things the same way. But yeah, I'm really excited about it, and this has been a lot of fun. Thank you very much, and we're almost done, guys. Fire up chips.